1 2 1 2. Audio 1 2 1 2, checking for smoothness. Welcome back, everybody, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel for tonight's action here at Spa-Francorchamps for the Purple Sector Formula One League. We're here for round 14 of 24 for this season. Last week we had a break. This week we're back to normal. We had racing on Tuesday night. We were live for the Hungarian Grand Prix from the Hungaroring. We're back here tonight at Spa for what I'm sure is going to be a great iteration of this Purple Sector F1 League season. I'm going to quickly go through the championship standings coming into tonight. So after round 13 of the season, it's currently Klen leading the championship on 215 points, and he sits 35 points clear now, or 37 points should I say, clear of Davidoff in second place on 178 points. Then we got Justify in third place on 170 points, followed by Matty Pitt in fourth on 157. C. Faulkner sits fifth on 94 points, tied with Rexy Boy in sixth on 94 as well. Freddie in seventh place on 79 points, ahead of T, who's eighth on 59. Street Boy ninth on 44, and Mr. Johan completing the top 10 on 36 points. Then in 11th, we've got Mark, who's on 32 points, followed by Drauga, who's 12th on 29. Ruck sits in a 13th place on 28 points, ahead of G.C. who is 14th on 24 points. Trucky's 15th on 11 points, ahead of Ben Hardy, who's 16th on 10. And then we got Oliver, who's 17th on 10 points, followed by White Shadow, who's on 2 points, while Pluto currently scoring 0 bar. And I think it's a bit of a joke, the fact that he's left on the leaderboard. I don't actually know what's going on there. Yeah, I don't actually know. He hasn't raced in ages, but I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, anyway. That is the championship standings, and we are here tonight for round 14 of the season, so very exciting here. But obviously, as always, before the start of a race, we've got a new driver here tonight, which is always interesting and always nice to see. Ice Wolf. I don't believe Ice Wolf had a previous alias here at Purple Sector, so I believe that this is Ice Wolf's debut, and we all wish Ice Wolf good luck here going forwards tonight. We've also got Ben Hardy making his second appearance here at Purple Sector. So that will be good to see if he can build on what was a very promising debut, I have to say. Obviously, he was qualified in third place. The race was a little bit up and down, but definitely I think the first win is going to be following his first race, not too far down the line. Whether it will be this season or whether it will be next season, we'll have to see. But obviously, jumping in mid-season, it's never easy to get a win. So we'll keep an eye out on Ben Hardy over the second half of this season. Could be a star in the making, but nonetheless, drivers just on their first flying laps here of the session. We've got Ice Wolf here, just 31.7 in the first sector. C. Faulkner is just coming up, Old Rouge and Radion. We've got Davidoff here, who's currently 3/10 because of Ice Wolf in the first sector there. G.C.'s coming up through Old Rouge. We've got Drauga, who's done a 31.2. So Drauga's actually quickest in the first sector so far. Is that a low downforce, or is that representative here? Rexy Boy at 30.8, flying through that part of the lap at this moment in time. So, yeah, drivers out there in anger, but let's keep a close eye and see what people are doing as they come towards the end of their laps here. Let's jump on board with our debutant here tonight. First flying lap in the Purple Sector F1 League here for Ice Wolf. So Ice Wolf here coming around the out of the Stavolo corner here through the final sector. Drago does the first lap time of the session there, a 45.1 from him. Ice Wolf here through Blanchimont. Here in the Aston Martin, his teammates just put the first lap time on the board here. Here comes Ice Wolf then. Let's see what's going to be the lap time here in his first ever flying lap in the Purple Sector Formula One League. And it is provisional pole position there. Goes 700s quicker than his teammate. As we've got a few more drivers now coming up towards the line. We've got Davidoff there, goes to P1 by 1.4 seconds. A resounding lap time there from Davidoff. Mr. Johan's out there on a lap time. We've got a lot of drivers here on lap times. Rexy coming up towards the line and goes P2 there, so half a second off of the fastest time being set by Davidoff. But I don't think Davidoff really got the first sector nailed, so could be more time in that one. G.C. comes over third place at the moment, and Justify there, top of the leaderboard at 143.2, doing what we've seen so many times from Justify this season. And well, he's a little way adrift in the championship after Tuesday night didn't really go to plan, but so far so good here for Justify on a 43.2. That is rapid stuff there, 4/10 quicker than Davidoff so far. We've got C4 currently in the pits, so not going to improve from there, I wouldn't have thought. Mr. Johann's coming through towards the end of this lap. Let's walk right on board here with the Haas driver. Was obviously our race winner at the Red Bull Ring earlier this season in the Austrian Grand Prix here at Purple Sector. The qualifying second, and since then it's been a little bit anonymous in some of the races. Hasn't really figured in the way that I thought he would. Then again, the fine margins in this league do mean that you can be very, very close to some very strong results, but no, so close but no cigar. But Mr. Johann comes over the line and goes P5 for the time being. Only 1.3 seconds off for that fastest time, being set by Justify. Davidoff here coming through the final sector, just taps the oh, that was a bit of a glitch there. That's a glitch on the on Spa. I should know that by now. Davidoff here comes into the final corner. He's currently coming into the pits on an in lap, so he's done his lap for the time being. Rexy Boy also on an in lap as Matty Pitt there goes second place, just ahead of Davidoff by 0.03 of a second, so very, very tight there between those two, but Matty Pitt currently slightly quicker than him. So we got Freddie, who's currently on an in lap by the looks of it. Ben Hardy, oh, he wiped the pit wall there as he's coming in. Didn't do a timed lap there during that run, so he's going to have to go back out there and try again here. But yeah, Ben Hardy hasn't managed to do a valid lap time just yet. T just starting a lap now. Oliver is on an out lap, so we'll be starting his lap pretty soon. So two drivers here who have done the opposite of everybody else here, have just stayed in the pits, stayed out of the way during the first runs, and are now going to go for their runs whilst everybody else is loitering about. Saying that though, it's a risky strategy for Oliver because he's going to be doing his lap as everybody else is coming on their out laps. So that's going to be a precarious position here for Oliver. But T nonetheless coming down the Kemmel straight here. Let's keep an eye on the top right, see what sort of sector times he's doing. 31.3 first sector there from T. Not absolutely rapid, but certainly no slouch. As he comes down the hill towards Brussels. And very tidy there from him. Once the hot on nice and early, bit of curve there on the outside. It's very, very difficult to nail that. Here comes T down the hill towards Pouon. And yeah, very, very solid so far, but it was a bit of a lift, possibly even a dab of the brakes they go through Pouon, but you want to be sure you can get a lap time on the board here. Obviously first runs are just about getting a time on the board. The last ones at the end of the session, when the track's rubbered in, you really go for it. You go full send at that point. But T here coming through into the final sector now. And it seems to be a solid lap so far here from T. Only driver on a flying lap aside from Oliver, who's a bit behind him on the track. We'll come to Oliver in just a moment. Here comes T through Blanchemont. And down towards the bus stop chicane once again here. Let's see. He's picked his braking point already there, getting it turned in nice and early. Bit of a twitch there on the first apex, but held it together very nicely. T up towards the line. What is it going to be for T? It's currently P8, so 1.6 seconds off for the pace there, being set by Justify. Oliver here just coming through the campus corner. It's a right-left chicane. It's a bit of a chicane. It's not most standard chicane, but I'd certainly say it qualifies as a chicane. And Oliver here coming into the final sector now. So here he comes through Blanchemont, flat out through there. You wouldn't expect anything else. Let's see, into the bus stop now, Oliver. A few seconds to go in the lap. See, look at the timing board. What's he going to do here? Oliver over the line, and it's P15 there for Oliver. So 44.8, but it's an invalid lap time there for Oliver. So he's going to have to get himself back in the pits and put a new set of tyres on, because those tyres aren't going to be giving him too much at the moment. As Mr. Johann there goes into P5, within a second of the fastest time being set by Justify. So showing a lot of pace so far with Mr. Johann. He's up there, or thereabouts. Is he going to be fighting for best of the rest here? You've got the big four. We all know who the big four are. If you've watched Purple Sector over this last season, you all know who the big four are. Obviously, you've got the championship leader Clen. You've got Davidoff, who's the ever-present. Usually, actually, I'd say on balance, probably the best overall out of them. It's weird because I say best overall, obviously Clen's leading the championship, but in terms of the driver who's the best from qualifying and the race, I'd say Davidoff's probably the best in terms of when you combine the two. I'd say that Clen is the best in the races, no doubt. I'd say Justify's the best qualifier, but I'd say the best overall will probably be Davidoff in terms of the ones who can get pole sometimes and also win the races. And Matty Pitt's just a very consistent driver, and he's always there fighting for the podiums. You can never count him out, and he will be there, ready to pick up a win when it's handed out. But we've got a little bit of rain here in the pit lane, so looks like there's some precipitation in the air, and I think that might just call a halt to any improvements going on in the session here. So anybody who hasn't put a lap in is going to have to really get a hurry up here, because the track will be deteriorating soon if it isn't already. The rain is very light at the moment, but Ben Hardy needs to get a hurry up here because the track will not be in its pristine state for very long here. So here comes Ben coming through Stavilo now, and he's got just this final sector to go. Looks to be a solid lap so far here from Ben Hardy. He will find a little bit of loss of grip coming into the braking zone for the bus stop, but he's only got to take one real corner in this state, so it might be that Ben Hardy actually can still do a competitive lap time here, should I say, as he comes now into the bus stop. Looks pretty good through there. Onto the power now. Ben Hardy up towards the line for his what's probably going to be his only flying lap of the session here, and he does a good enough lap there of P8. That's going to be the max there for him because the track's going to be getting wetter and wetter now. So Ben has managed to damage imitation there, I'd say. He was in P15 a second ago, but now is up into 8th place, so at least he's got a lap on the board here, which is better than, I suppose 8th is better than last. In the meantime, Matty comes over the line to start a lap, but I reckon that's going to be that for the session here. I can't see anybody improving with the track in this current state that it's in. It looks to me to be a little bit slippy out there. Glenn did actually go into second place there, only 400ths behind Justify, so it's done an absolutely sensational lap there. And Ben says, I went out too late, ruined my lap. Yeah, it's difficult because you've got that weather radar, but sometimes it just says it will be within the next 15 minutes or the next 5 minutes, and you don't know exactly when it's going to come. And also, if you don't check that weather radar, then you're going to find yourself in major problems. Ben, what's the weather forecast? If you're still listening, can you just let us know? Is there rain expected for the race? Mr. Johan's out there on the interns doing a bit of practice, so it would appear we might have a chance of seeing some rain in the Grand Prix itself. But obviously I can't see the weather radar because I'm not actually one of the drivers competing in the race, but these guys have access to it. Possibly looks a funny one. Oh dear, that sounds ominous. Yeah, if there's clouds on the forecast for the race, that means there will be rain at some point, but the question is it could fall in the final 5 minutes, and at that point you might as well just keep the slick tyres on until the end. And also you could have rain right at the start, but it could be a drying track. You could be on the slicks after 4 or 5 laps. You know, just it doesn't really give the game away completely. You only really know until you get into the lobby, so I won't know until the lights go out, but the drivers will have some idea before they actually do their strategies in the lobby, the pre-race lobby. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for qualifying there, everybody. Can't see any major changes occurring. Let's jump on board with some of these guys. Mr. Johan and Rexy Boy, love you guys, giving us something to watch in the intervening minutes before we start the race. Appreciate you. But yeah, Mr. Johan here putting the car through its paces, going through Brussels. A bit of a backstory on Mr. Johan joined the league earlier this season. I remember Mr. Johan used to race in the league. I think it might even have been at XL, but it was many years ago now, probably about 4 years ago. I used to commentate on this guy, and yeah, he recently joined Purple Sector a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now, and his debut was at the Red Bull Ring at Austria. He did a phenomenal job there, qualified in second place. I remember myself and my co-commentator Ian, who will be actually back with us, not next week, but the one after, he'll be back. But yeah, we were absolutely gobsmacked when he went in to put second place on the board at the end of the session. Then not only did he do that, but he also then went and won the race. So it was quite the introduction of Mr. Johan. He's currently out there putting his intermediate tyres through a bit of a test run. Rexy Boy has put the inters on the car but hasn't left the pit lane. So I think he might be playing it safe here. Doesn't want to write the chassis off before we start the race. Not that that's going to be an issue, because no matter what you do to the chassis in the qualifying session on this F124 game, you still are able to start the race with it in a pristine condition. So there's actually you actually cannot write the chassis off the race. You would always be able to start the race because it's only a game. That's the thing. But Mr. Johan coming up, El Rouge and Radion here with 2 minutes left on the clock, and the driver's now starting to retire from the session. So I wonder if there's a little memo, there's a little announcement in the group chat. Maybe they're all saying, look guys, come on, no one's going to improve their lap, let's get this over with. Because yeah, they seem to be en masse throwing in the towel here at the end of this qualifying session. But this driver's out there, Johan is out there practicing, so maybe they're not going to call it a day just yet. T's out there doing some running on some dry tyres. So if we're expecting light rain in the race, maybe T's hoping that he can get away with running the dries ready for when the track dries out. But yeah, that would be a very ballsy strategy. T is currently out there on the soft tyres. So 5 drivers have yet to retire now, 4 because C. Fortin has now retired as well. So Mr. Johan's out there testing out these intermediate tyres. T's out there testing out the slicks. And Street Boy and Freddie currently sat in their pit boxes at the moment, but seem reluctant to actually end their sessions just yet. But Mr. Johan is coming through the final sector here. And let's see what sort of lap times he's doing in these wet conditions. It's actually, I'd say it's probably a bit more than damp now. I'd say it's probably, it's more than just mildly moist, shall we say. Mr. Johan coming up for a corner. Let's see what he's able to put on the board here. The 157, I think. Yeah. So, solid enough there from Mr. Johan. You usually expect the times on the inters to be about anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds off of the pace, and then once you get more than about 15 seconds a lap off of the pace, that's when you want to start thinking about putting those wets on. Because it's a surefire sign that the inters can't hack it anymore. But yeah. I think that's it then. I think that's it. So Johan, if we can be retiring from the session, that would be wonderful. There's Street Boy and Freddie are both in the pit, so I think we're all systems go here. I think we are ready. But just to quickly run you through the championship standings coming in tonight, everybody. So it's still Glenn leading the way on 215 points, 37 points clear of Davidoff in second on 178. Then we've got Justify third on 170. Matty Pitt fourth on 157 points, with C. Fortin fifth on 94. Then we've got Rexy Boy in sixth place on 94 as well. Freddie sits seventh on 79 points, ahead of T in eighth on 59 points. Street Boy ninth on 44. Mr. Johan in P10 on 36. Mark sits 11th on 32 points, followed by Drager in 12th on 29. Rockies 13th on 28 points, ahead of G.C. in 14th on 24. Trocky is 15th on 11 points, followed by Ben Hardy in 16th on 10 points. Oliver on 10 points as well, with White Shadow on 2 points, while Pluto on 0 points so far for this season. We've got 15 of you currently watching live on YouTube at the moment. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. To, I think, most of you, probably the drivers or friends, family, or those associates of the drivers. But if you're not, or actually if you are, let us know who you're supporting tonight. Let us know who brought you along to this stream. Let us know who told you to be here, giving you support. And yeah, otherwise let's get ourselves ready for a very exciting race here with what I believe is going to be changeable conditions. It does sound, from what Ben said in the comments, like we are expecting to see some sort of precipitation. But nonetheless, Justify there taking pole by 300ths of a second ahead of Glenn. A very hollow end to that qualifying session there. Not the type of glorious last-ditch pole position that I'm sure Justify would have dreamt of. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter how you get them. all that matters is that you end up starting at the front of the grid and giving yourself the best chance to go on and take the win in the Grand Prix. So obviously, Belgium. This season is meant to be a sprint, I believe. Was last season a sprint? I can't remember if 2024 Belgium was a sprint, but obviously Purple Sector aren't the biggest fans of sprints, which is very understandable. On Motive's F1 League, which we used to run on a Friday night, we actually did one season where there was a sprint for every single race. And I think the reason for that was I wanted to pad the stream time. I can't remember why I wanted to do that, but ultimately I think I wanted to make more of an event of it, and it ended up just being a massive drag. And by the end of the season, I thought to myself, I never ever want to do a sprint ever again. Although I am commentating on some sprints at the Red Arrows League on a Monday night. They run sprints every 3 weeks. They also run a very specific type of Grand Prix every 3 weeks as well. And then the other every 3 weeks, they run a normal Grand Prix. But hey, look, sprints can add an extra element, just not when it's every single week. That's the only issue. But anyway, here we are, everybody. We are moments away from the start. It looks like a dry start. No rain in the air as things stand. So I think for the time being, it's going to be a dry tyre, slick tyre start. And here we are then, underway for the formation lap. So everybody's on the soft tyres except for Davidoff, who started on the hard tyres. That is very ballsy. I was expecting light rain late on, because if we have rain late in the race, Davidoff could actually stay on the hard tyres and then put the inters on. You don't have to use two different dry tyre compounds if there's rain. So if it rains halfway through the race, you don't have to use two sets of dry tyres. So Davidoff could be hoping to go long, wait for the rain, put the inters on, boom, he makes one less pit stop. Could be the case. But nonetheless, here we are then, lining up on the grid, moments away here from the start of the Belgian Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League. Davidoff taking a big risk there with that strategy. Is it going to pay off tonight? Nonetheless, there's a couple of drivers in front of him who are going to be fighting it out very early on here. You've got Justify on the left-hand side with the championship leader alongside him on the right-hand side. Here we go then, lights coming on at the end of the grid. We're about to go racing here at the Belgian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go here at Spa. And it's Justify there getting a good start there off of the line. And Glenn looking to the outside there, almost on the grass there around the outside. As we can see on the inside there, Matty Pitt has just managed to keep ahead there. Davidoff is down to up to P4, should I say. Mr. Johan there down to 5th place at the moment as they come up for Eau Rouge and Radion here for the first time in this race. Over the crest of the hill they come, and that's the whole pack there. They can see the top 5 of there's a bit of a gap there actually between the top 7 and then everybody else. S12 there is running just ahead of T at the moment, but nonetheless Justify leading, coming down towards the Coombe here for the first time. We can see Clem there keeping it on the outside. Matty Pitt looked up the inside, couldn't make it happen as Davidoff there getting a lovely exit there out of Lacombe, moving ahead of Mr. Johan up into 4th place. So that's a job done there for Davidoff early on those harder tyres. But we got Mr. Johan there who's got Rexy Boy and Ben Hardy, should I say, side by side here through Brussels. And Ben, has he made that move? I think he has done. Ben with a lovely move around the outside there, up into 6th place, coming through the corner with no name. So Ben will be pretty chuffed with that there on the opening lap. Justify leading ahead of Glenn. There's Matty, Davidoff, Mr. Johan, Ben there running in P6 ahead of Rexy Boy, followed by Ice Wolf. And you've got T there ahead of Drauga completing the top 10 as Drauga here looking to the inside, too far back there into Campus. But interesting first up there with Justify holding on to the lead. Glenn still all over the back of him at the moment, really is hassling here in the opening stages of this race. And Davidoff up into 4th place there on those hard tyres, which he's going to be able to go long into this race and could give him a little bit of an ace up his sleeve if he's if the rain comes late on in the race and he's heavy enough to warrant a switch to the intermediate tyres. But nonetheless, coming down towards the bus stop here at the end of the first lap, Justify still can't shake off Glenn at the moment, and Glenn, I believe, we'll have DRS down the Camel Straight as well, because the detection point is separate from the detection point for the start-finish straight. Obviously, that's a lap 1 detection point, so that wouldn't count. But I believe the detection point here is just before Eau Rouge, so I think, or maybe even just after Radion actually. So it could be the case that Glenn could have DRS here on his second lap of the race. Let's see and wait for that rear wing to open. If indeed it does, as I want the whole pack here come through Radion here on the lap 2 of the race. Here we come then, down the Camel Straight. Is that rear wing open? Yeah, it is. And here we go. Glenn now making a move for the lead of the race there. We're into Lacombe, and he makes that one stick there. And a bit of slide there as he went through the corner. Justify is going to look to the outside and try and go around the outside here. Do this next right hander. Can't do that one. Now Matty Pitt is going to look to try and not Justify while he's down here. Into Brussels we go. And Matty Pitt there's made that one stick beautifully there into second place. And Justify there. All of a sudden down in P3 after leading the race a few moments ago. So that's going to be a bit of a frustration for him, but a long race still to go, still plenty of laps, and still plenty of time for him to get himself back onto that top step. He's still right there with the leaders, and anything can happen over the course of a 22-lap race around this circuit in particular. But there's the pack there, you can see there. Everyone's holding position, not really any overtakes just at the moment, nothing really looking like it's materialising. So there they all are, and Claren out the front, with a slender gap here over Matty Pitt at the moment of 0.6 of a second as they're coming into this final part of the lap once again. As Ice Wolf has moved out of T and T, he's dropping down the order. What's happened to T? T has had a moment there in the wall as he's down to P15 in this race. So T's had an absolute horror show there coming out of Stavilo. Must have got onto that outside curve. It's very easily done. I've been playing a bit of this game the last few days, and I tell you what, it is absolutely brutal, that curve. And T has unfortunately come off very, very badly in all of that, as Matty Pitt is all over Glen into La Source at the moment as they're all coming through there, through your shot at the moment. Bit of a lock up there from the Haas of Mr. Johan. And C. Fulton has moved ahead of Freddie, and Freddie almost losing out to Oliver there, keeping it around the outside. Mr. Johan also battling with Ice Wolf, so Ice Wolf there almost got that move done on Mr. Johan. Mr. Johan's going backwards a little bit in the opening few laps of this race, seems to be coming under pressure now from a train of cars. In the meantime, we've got a battle here out the front. Matty Pitt's made the move for the lead here, coming down towards Lacombe. Justify there, moving back at a Glen. So once again, you don't want to be in the lead coming down the Camel Straight, because the guys behind you will slingshot you with that DRS. And Glen down to third place. Matty Pitt has made light work of both of those two there, and now hits the front here in this Belgian Grand Prix. We've got Ben still ahead of Davidoff right now. Those two are pretty close. Davidoff running on his hard tyres, but Ben has made that move, which he'd need to do really, because with the strategy being the way it is with Davidoff, he'd need to be ahead. Otherwise Davidoff on those hard tyres is going to have the pick of what he can do here. But at this point, Ben has made a move which was probably necessary, and Matty Pitt still has that lead by slender advantage here, having made that move down the Camel Straight. Justify still sticking to him through every corner at the moment. It's not letting him off the hook at all as they come through Stavilo once again here in this one. But Justify is not giving this one up at all. Let's get the tyre graphic up just for a bit of transparency here, so you guys can see what the situation is in terms of who started on what tyre and how far they can potentially go into the race. Justify looking to the outside here, down towards the bus stop. Is he going to make a move there? No, a little bit too far away just at the moment. Still keeping himself there. In the meantime, Mr. Johan has made the move on Trauger up into 8th place, seeing that one on the timing board. But Justify surely going to fancy a move here. Oliver's moved up into P10, has got around the outside of C. Faulkner there, coming out onto the start-finish straight through the bus stop chicane. So Oliver now into the points. C. Faulkner too far back to come back in there into turn 1. But here we go. Leaders again coming up through Al Rouge and Radion. It's Matty Pitt, the league owner, the reigning champion here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League, has got Justify hunting him down, and our perennial pole sitter here now pulls out to the outside with the DRS open. But Matty Pitt's straight line speed is absolutely formidable. Look at that, he's got no DRS, he's holding his own there, was matching that McLaren straight line speed without DRS. Justify couldn't do anything about it, so Matty Pitt has set his car up an absolute peach here. And potentially now, this could be the narrative of this race. The speed that Mercedes has got in a straight line, as long as he can park it through this middle part of the lap here, which is not going to be easy with a car that's got that much low downforce. But if he can do that, then Matty Pitt could be in a great shout of winning this race. The problem is his tyres are going to go off very quickly, because he's going to be wrestling that car through these types of corners, and that's going to only hurt those tyres and accelerate their wear. So Matty Pitt's going to have to be really on it over the course of this race. His focus is going to have to be absolutely laser sharp here as they're coming through into the final part of this lap once again. But Matty Pitt still leading ahead of Justify with Glen right there with them. And I'll tell you what, Davidoff here on those hard tyres is playing himself into a peach of a position in the strategy right now, running in 4th place. And as we said before, if the rain comes late, which we think it could be, then he could stay out all the way until it starts falling. These soft runners do not have that luxury. As Glen there looking to the inside, has to go take to the run off there. Had a bit of too much of a run there on Justify, and ended up having to take to the tarmac there on the inside of the corner. Davidoff up to 3rd place. So Davidoff there will be rubbing his hands together with that one. That's another position gained there for our Williams driver. And also, all the while this stint goes on, those soft tyres are going to be going off rapidly. Those hard tyres are going to be absolutely fine. So now Davidoff is in that sweet position here. In a couple of laps' time, his tyres will start to be stronger than these soft runners, if they aren't already, in fact, very competitive next to these soft tyres. Because soft tyres go off about 2.5, 3 tenths a lap. The hard tyres probably lose about a tenth a lap. So you think about that. You know, he's probably been gaining a 2 tenths a lap on them every lap. By now, the Delta's probably nothing. Oh, Justify there got tapped in the side there by Davidoff. They were side by side through Lacombe. We'll have to see what the stewards think of that one and whether we can get the on board of either of those two there. We're watching from the bird's eye view there as they came through Lacombe. But Justify has dropped absolutely. He's plummeted down the order there. But that little bit of contact there that Davidoff just was on the inside. To me, it looked like a bit of a racing incident, but we'll have to get another perspective on that later on. The stewards, I'm sure, will be asked to look into it by one or if not both of them. But for the time being, Davidoff is still running in second place. If either of them's going to make an inquiry on that one, it'll be justified because he was the one who came off way worse in that one. But Davidoff now on the back of Matty Pitt here and in an absolutely fantastic position here. This could have been an inspired choice to put those hard tyres on at the start of this race. Look at this. This is, well, Davidoff has got an absolute it's sport of choice right now as to what he can do. He can go long into this stint, he can wait for the rain. He's also now got the pace over these soft runners, so this is absolutely sensational stuff here from Davidoff as we come down the start finish straight once again here. Through turn one we go, Davidoff here. Very close on Matty Pitt right now and is surely going to fancy a move down the Camel Straight, you would think. In the meantime, Drauga's moved ahead of Justify, although saying that was actually a retaliation overtake, because Justify had overtaken him just before, and Justify there just squeezing through El Rouge and makes that move up into P6. In the meantime, here's Davidoff making the move for the lead of the race here on Matty Pitt into Lacombe, and that is job done there. Matty Pitt tried to get a bit of a cut back there. It's not going to happen there, and those hard tyres are now working absolutely beautifully here for our new race leader Davidoff, who leads coming into Brussels. The man with the aura, they say, that our most popular driver at Purple Sector, according to the YouTube comments section, which usually has about 2 or 3 people commenting per stream. Yeah, Davidoff there putting off a phenomenal opening few laps to this race, and is leading the race on those hard tyres. Obviously, the first sort of 2 or 3 laps are the hardest ones to get through on the hard tyres, because you are losing so much time to the soft runners in those first couple of laps. But Davidoff managed to get through that storm, managed to grit his teeth and get on with it, and is now reaping the benefits with a much more healthy set of tyres underneath him, and has now got over a second of a gap here over Matty Pitt. So what a sensational decision that was. Even if we don't see rain in this race, he's pulled off an absolute worldie of a strategic call there. Long way to go here in this race, but he's got pretty much the pick of the strategies here tonight, as Matty Pitt still keeping up with him, coming through out of the bus stop onto the start finish straight once again. Matty Pitt has still got DRS just about as well, which will let him get a little bit closer down here and then potentially have a crack at retaking the lead, you would have thought, down the Camel Straight. As we watch the rest of the pack here coming through La Source, we've got a few drivers who have already been into the pits. Street Boy's coming in now. Oliver is just coming over the line here. Has actually lost time over the course of this race. Icewolf came into the pits on the previous lap for hard tyres, so keep an eye and see what Icewolf can do over the course of this race. Petit also put a set of mediums on 3 laps ago actually, so Petit's done a fair old way on those and might be trying to go to the end. We've got a safety car. Safety car is out, and that's because G.C. has crashed out of the race. So G.C. they're binning it somewhere, and safety car is out here on lap 7. That's going to open up strategy enormously here. So here we go, the driver's coming into the pits. I'm just seeing a little bit of rain now falling on the camera lens, and Matty Pitt has reacted to that, has put some intermediate tyres on, so has Davidoff. The rain not strong enough yet for Inters, we're not even close, but the thing is, the fact that the pack are going to go round at about half the speed because they're under safety car over these next couple of laps means that it's probably going to be about 5 minutes until we're actually underway for racing, and in 5 minutes this track could very, very conceivably be wet enough for intermediate tyres. So these guys are obviously now looking ahead to that, and this safety car could have very much made this decision a lot easier than what it would have otherwise been. We've got V10 Ultra in the comments, former champion of this Purple Sector F1 League. Welcome along to you, V10. He says, oh no, that's terrible timing for Street Boy. Yeah, Street Boy had just been into the pits, hadn't he? And he says rain is going to make things interesting now. It certainly is. The safety car actually made the call a lot easier for these guys, because otherwise they'd all have to come in, and it would have been a very tricky decision as to when to come in, but this has really made it a lot more simple than it otherwise would have been. Drivers who haven't come in so far, Glenn and Ben Hardy, and we're now behind the safety car, so if they come in now they're going to drop to the back, so this isn't ideal for them. They're on the wrong tyres potentially. Saying that though, if the rain still remains very light for the next few laps, then it could be that they might be able to pull away from the pack here. I mean, this is a real mix-up in terms of the strategy. You know, you've got Davidoff and Matty in third and fourth on the Inters. The Inters are not the right tyre yet. You can see the track not wet enough for Inters at the moment. You've got Rexy Boy and Mysterio Hand on the hard tyres. They could go to the end if it stays dry, if the track stays dry. Justify and Freddie on the intermediate tyres. Again, you know, they need this safety car to stay out as long as possible. C. Faulkner and Ice Wolf on the hard tyres, and then Street Boy, Oliver and T on the Inters. So you've got a total mix-up in terms of what people are doing here. The variety, the diversity of the tyres in this race is absolutely insane. It's very colourful, I have to say. The screen it makes for a very, very eye-catching display. But nonetheless, here we go then. So we're coming into this final corner, and it looks like we're staying out for at least another lap here because T hasn't caught up. So we're not going just yet, and that means that we've got to unfortunately handle another 3 minutes of purgatory behind the safety car. But we'll be racing at some point soon, I can assure you of that. Yeah, it won't be too long. But yeah, currently Glenn and Ben are in a very, very tricky position here. They'd have been wanting that safety car to come in as soon as possible because they need to make the most of the track whilst it's still dry. They're on the soft tyres here. They want to, you know, pull out as much as they can, but I think the track is going to continue to get wet here, and I reckon they're going to get caught out. So you can see the rain is still continuing to fall. They're not going at speeds that is going to shed the spray in any way, shape or form, and obviously the pack's all together as well. When you've got field spread, you find that the racing line becomes a lot more prevalent because everybody's coming, you know, there's somebody coming past every few seconds. In this sort of situation where the whole pack is together, that's going to be probably about 2 or 3 minutes where a certain stretch of time, like at any given time, is not going to have any rainfall, and that's going to mean that the whole track is going to be slippery for, you know, for the foreseeable future. There's going to be hardly any shedding of the water on the track at all. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the guys on the dry tyres handle this. But I can't see this working out for them as the rain continues to fall here. Although no spray just yet, but we're sort of getting to the point now where the Inters can survive. Albeit they're certainly not going to be in their sweet spot right now, but I reckon they might just about be able to hang on. It's just about going to be damp enough for them to get the sustenance they need into intermediate tyres. They need water. They like flowers. They need water. As long as they're fed, then they'll be okay. But if they haven't got any water, then they will shrivel up and die. But here we go then. Safety car in this lap, so we should be underway in a second, which is excellent news. Obviously, we have been on the safety car now for a few minutes, but confirmation there, the safety car is going to go back to its little this little basement, and then we should be back underway. So here we are, Glenn holding the pack up a little bit, getting his tyres nice and warm. He needs to. He really does need to. You can see certain camera angles show that the rain is starting to become a little bit more than a drizzle now. So that's going to be ominous for Glenn and Ben Hardy. At this point, I would say maybe the soft tyres might still be slightly quicker than the inters, but we are rapidly approaching that crossover point. We are rapidly approaching it, and the track will be damp enough for these intermediate tyres to survive. So Davidoff and Matty aren't going to have to worry too much. They might lose a bit of time in the beginning, but they're going to be there waiting. Here we go then, underway at Spa for this restart, and Davidoff got an absolute fly there, looking to the inside of Ben into La Source. Ben trying to hold it around the outside there, getting out of shape. Maybe now the rain is starting to have an effect here, because he looked very, very shaky there coming out of La Source. Here we come then, Glenn leading us through Al Rouge and Radion on lap 10 of the race. Davidoff is all over the back of him here as they come down the Camel Straight. You can see there the Red Bull getting closer and closer. No DRS on the opening lap of a restart, but he doesn't need DRS. Davidoff is going to make the move anyway here down towards the... As here we go, that's going to be job done there for our Scotsman. And the Williams driver now is setting the pace here. Glenn has got Matty Pitt all over him. And look at the slide there from Glenn in that Red Bull. The intermediate tyres are now the tyre to be on. And it looks like the soft tyres are now really struggling here. Glenn is down to third place. Ben is still keeping with these guys at the moment. The two soft runners running in third and fourth places. But the gamble to stay out on the dry tyres has so far shown to be not the right call here for these guys. Davidoff still out the front. Matty Pitt, Glenn and Ben Hardy right there at the moment, with Rexy Boy struggling on those hard tyres, as well as Mr. Johan. And Freddie here making up places on these intermediate tyres. So he's absolutely flying through the pack at the moment. His teammate out in front leading the race. Freddie currently doing his bit as well. Currently running in 7th place. And that's only going to go up here because there's plenty of drivers on the dry tyres in front of him who are going to be struggling no end at the moment. As Davidoff and Matty Pitt out the front, their gap to these two soft runners now 3 seconds. So they've got to get themselves in. They've got to limit the damage here, surely, and hope for a safety car later on in the race that might get them back into the race. But Davidoff here coming into the bus stop once again here, as Drauga's got a 3-second time penalty there for track limits. But Davidoff here has got just over a second of a gap here to Matty Pitt. Seems to have the measure of Matty at the moment. We see Glenn into the pits as well as Ben, so no surprise there. They had to come in. In the meantime, those who can go to the end on their hard tyres are staying out, and that is interesting. You've got the likes of Rexy Boy, Mr. Johan, C40 and Ice Wolf all out there. And I tell you what, I cannot make this up. The rain is starting to stop. You can see visibly that the rain is not falling. Oh, dearie me. Oh my goodness, there's Ice Wolf there, gets it horribly wrong going through Al Rouge and Radion. I say horribly wrong. Horribly wrong would have been in the wall. I suppose partially wrong would be doing what he did just there. It was a phenomenal save. In the meantime, Freddie's up into 4th place now ahead of Rexy Boy, continuing to cut his way through this pack like a hot knife through butter right now, as we see Davidoff out in front with a 2-second gap over Matty Pitt. But Freddie here looking racy on the back of Drauga, and surely is going to be picking him off very, very shortly here. V10 says, what a save from the Aston Martin. It was absolutely spectacular there from Ice Wolf. He did really, really well, especially the fact he's on the dry tyres. The dry tyres hanging in there at the moment. The rain is not coming down very intensely at this point. It's still intermediate territory, but if the rain were to stop, I reckon within a lap we'd start to see the inters getting too hot, because they are going to be shedding that any amount of dampness. I can't call it water, it's simply not, but that the dampness on the track will be dissipating very, very quickly once this rain stops at the rate it's been coming down so far. But we're running on board nonetheless with Freddie as we're coming into the final sector of this lap here. He's really keeping Drauga under pressure here, and he might fancy a move into the bus stop, but seems to just be a little bit too far away at the moment. G.C. says wrong would have been like me. Yeah, maybe, mate. We didn't actually see your incident, but I can only assume it was through the same part of the track based on what you're telling me there. We see Justify here. Is the DRS still working? I think, yeah, it is. So obviously the track isn't really on paper, isn't that wet, but it's just damp enough that you need inters. I reckon on some tracks would be with this level of rain, I reckon around some tracks you'd see people staying on the dries and they'd be the best tyre, but around Spa you just can't get away with it. Any amount of of slipperiness on the track, and you just can't get away with it around Spa. As in the meantime, Justify there moving through ahead of Rexy Boy down the Camel Straight and up into P5. The DRS still is here to stay, at least for another lap here in this race. Davidoff has got a 3-second gap almost over Matty Pitt right now, and is continuing to extend that gap bit by bit. He seems to have the confidence on these intermediate tyres in these very borderline conditions right now. Drauga, I tell you what, has been doing an absolutely phenomenal job here, running in 3rd place, only 8 seconds off of the lead on those medium tyres. He'll be right there waiting if this rain stops, because he won't need to pit again. He gets to go to the end there. What a job Drauga's doing so far in this one. Freddie, though, keeping him very much looking in those rearview mirrors, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Freddie making his way past very, very shortly, as we're watching him coming down the hill towards Stavolo once again here, in towards the final sector of this lap. Freddie's got to look towards these braking zones. The thing is, obviously he gets a lovely exit out of Stavolo, and this is going to be job done here for Freddie, and he moves through up into 3rd place there, and yeah, Drauga can't fight that one anymore, so Freddie now onto the podium places, can now try and chase down the 2 leaders. Obviously his teammates leading the race, he's now on the podium himself. He's got Matty 5 seconds up the road. Can Freddie start to hunt him down here, as he's there in 3rd place right now, justifying P5, hunting down Drauga, who's still occupying 4th place at the moment, miraculously driving around on his medium tyres, doing an absolutely phenomenal job here in this one. As we see Oliver on the back of C. Faulkner at the moment in this fight for 8th place. They're going into turn 1, holding positions at the moment, those guys. We've got Ben here still keeping Glenn on his toes right now, but those guys, a disastrous strategy for both of them, wasn't it? I mean, they had to obviously come in and get those soft tyres, which they started the race on. They had to take those off at the end of the safety car period, which is the worst time to be coming into the pits, because everybody's bunched up. You come out miles behind everybody else. And DRS has finally been disabled here, which would suggest that we're now looking at a crossover onto intermediate tyres generally. Although Drauga's still hanging in there, I tell you what, he's still got Justify behind him, and he's only dropped about a second to Freddie in the last half a lap. I say a second and a half a lap, it's 2 seconds a lap on average, so you know, it's certainly a hefty amount of time to be losing in 1 lap, but nonetheless, Drauga doing a phenomenal job here, it has to be said. Freddie not really closing the gap to Matty, as we see Justify moving through ahead of Drauga up into 4th place. Rexy Boy and Mr. Johan also hanging in there on the dry tyres. Oliver there just behind on the inters. Should have the grip to overtake these guys in a moment, you would have thought. C. Faulkner also remaining out on the track on the hard tyres, so plenty of drivers who have not pitted during this light drizzle. But all those who have are currently reaping the benefits. Davidoff, Matty Pitt, Freddie and Justify are the top 4 at the moment. Those in the championship battle were the ones who played it safe, and so far the safe option has proven to be the best option in this one. As we see Drauga in the background finally giving in by the looks of it. Rain's looking to stay, says G.C. Fair play. Well, it's very, very light rain, but I think that we're now reaching a point where the dry sides are unsustainable. So I think it's right now that Drauga's coming in. Shame though, because once you're committed to that strategy, you kind of have nothing to lose. You just think, oh, I might as well just wait, see what happens. If it doesn't, so be it. But it's a roll of the dice, isn't it? Those who are in the championship battle, you can understand not taking that risk. The likes of Davidoff, Matty, Justify, Glenn obviously took that risk, stayed out on the soft tyres, and that's going to really hurt him. It's actually Glenn who's leading the championship V10. So, it's Ben Hardy there making a move on Glenn as well, up into 9th place. But yeah, Glenn's the one leading the championship. So in a way, this is kind of very apt here, because it's going to... Oh, sorry, that was a sneeze. I usually mute my mic, I didn't get there in time. But yeah, Glenn's leading the championship, so yeah, the fact that he's had this horrendous night and everybody else had a reasonable one is actually very convenient, because it will then close up the gap and it will open up that championship battle a little bit here. So it's gone quite well here for us viewers, I think, so far. Anyway, as we see, Oliver's made a mistake here. He's dropped behind C. Faulkner, Ben and Glenn, despite being on the right tyres here. Oliver with a little mistake. C. Faulkner still running in P7 ahead of these guys. Rexy Boy, Mr. Johan and T Falkner, all on those hard tyres. They're going to try and go to the end, aren't they? But C-Dots let us know that the weather radar is his team's weather radar. The RB team's weather radar has told us that we're not going to be expecting the rain to let up before the end of the race. So these guys on the hard tyres are basically banking on this drizzle staying what it is, essentially, as drizzle. Because if it gets any more intense than this, I think they're going to have to put the intermediate tyres on. But at the moment, they're hanging in there, they're holding on. But now they're coming in by the looks of it. You got Mr. Johan and C Faulkner both coming in. Rexy Boy now staying out. So you got Ice Wolf also staying out as well. So Rexy Boy and Ice Wolf sticking with it. The others have all said no. We gave it a go, didn't we? But no more. But 2 drivers remain out there on the dry tyres. Everybody else has given up. Except, Mr. Johan's also put the inters on as well. C Faulkner has gone for a set of mediums. Wow, okay. So clearly his hard tyres were feeling the pace a little bit. He must have been on those since the start, I would have thought. Although I thought he said 8 laps. Or was it 6 laps, something like that? I can't remember what it was. I think C Faulkner had put those on before the safety car, but clearly they were struggling. Oh no, C Faulkner! Oh my goodness me! Massive slide there at the top of Radion, and he did brilliantly to save that as well, just like what we saw earlier on from Ice Wolf, having to save it through the same corner. And V10, were you watching that, mate? That was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, into the main tyre now, surely, says V10. Yeah, absolutely, you have to think. Why is my man on the mediums? G.C. says, God knows, honestly. C Faulkner's clearly holding out for some sort of let up in the rain, but it doesn't appear to be forthcoming at this point. I think that it really is just it's about trying to prize out a needle from a haystack. Really, it's a very unlikely scenario. But Ben has moved through ahead of Rexboy up into P5, and now Rexboy's going to have to be looking out because Glenn, Oliver and Draga are now right behind him here. Ice Wolf still running in 10th place as well on those hard tyres. But it's Rexy Boy and Ice Wolf. Are these two going to come in now? Looks like Rexy Boy is finally giving it in. Ice Wolf in the meantime. Oh no, look at that. Ice Wolf's got it all wrong on the exit of Blanchemont. It's not even a corner. In the dry conditions, it's not even a corner. And Ice Wolf has managed to drop it there through that corner on those dry tyres in these wet conditions. And he's now going to have to come into the pits. There we go. As Rexy Boy's now on his way out of the pits, and Ice Wolf there just coming into the pits now. C Faulkner also coming in. So the dry tyre resistance has now folded, and we're seeing it's going to be inters to the flag here for all of these drivers. One driver who knew from a very, very early stage what the right tyre was is Davidoff, and he's currently got 9 seconds of a gap here over Matty Pitt, so he has really knocked it out of the park. His pace has been sensational, but his strategic decisions tonight have really been what have won him this race. His decision to start on the hard tyres also was absolutely profound, because the hard tyres in that first stint, although for the first couple of laps he struggled, after about lap 4 it seemed like he's had more pace than the soft runners, and he blasted past everyone up into the lead of the race before the rain came. Davidoff has just been in the right place at the right time, has had his eye on everything. It just seems like this man is a genius. He really is. And he's just coming through this final corner here to start lap 17 of the race with only 6 laps left to go. I can't see anything stopping him now. And this could be a big turning point here in this season for him. His gap to claim the championship coming in tonight is a pretty massive one, but he's going to take a significant chunk out of it. His gap to Clem, 37 points coming into tonight. As things stand in this race, if Clem were to finish P6, the gap would be 20 points. If Clem were to get P5 and get ahead of Ben, then it would be... Oh, goodness me. Ben there going into the wall there. Okay, so came in. So that does put Clem to pick that up to P5. I was going to say, if Clem does finish P5, which he is now, then it would be... the gap would be 12 points. 22 points, sorry. Before or after the race. So anyway, Ben into the pits, put another set of intermediate tyres on. It was damage. I would have thought that was the reason for him coming in, because the Inters can go very long, so I wouldn't have thought there'd be in particularly any trouble. But nonetheless, Davidoff is out the front here with a very, very big gap here over Matty Pitt. It's currently just under 11 seconds. It did dip over there for a moment, but it's now gone under 11 seconds here. And we see Freddie is on the back of Justify as well here in this battle for third place. He'll be looking to get himself a podium here. Justify is in the championship fight, but he's falling further and further behind this season. All of these wet races, all of these extra curveballs are the last thing that Justify needs, because in the dry conditions, when it's just all about pace, I would say he's probably the best driver in this league. He's the quickest driver in the league at Purple Sector, I would say, without doubt. But his strategy, consistency, and maybe tyre saving isn't quite on the level of some of the other guys. And I think that's what's catching him out sometimes. And obviously, in these wet conditions, any anomaly, any unusual event, and it can be blown wide open. But Justify, I'd say he's certainly got the raw pace over everybody in this league. But unfortunately, things seem to be going against him at the moment for whatever reason. But Davidoff is leading here, is to come down towards Old Route once again. 12 seconds a gap over Matty Pitt at the moment. Justify still keeping ahead of Freddie at the moment. In the battle for third and fourth place is Glenn, as just about a second behind Trailger at this moment in time. As Ben is on the back of Rexy Boy here, has come through Bon and into the bus stop once again here. So Ben will be looking to try and put pressure on the back of Rexy Boy, you would have thought, in this battle. So let's see what he's able to do here. In the final 5 laps of this Belgian Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League. And what a race it's been, what a night it's been here at Purple Sector. It's been really, really exciting action here. Thoroughly enjoyed this Belgian Grand Prix here tonight. The rain has really thrown it wide open, and ultimately what I thought could have been anyone's race ended up as being a masterclass from the race leader. But we're watching on board with Ben Hardy here in the battle for 8th and 9th places. Here they come then, down the Kemmel Straight, as Ben pulls out the slipstream there to the inside, and that's going to be an easy move there for Ben up into 8th place without any real major issues there. Oliver is just coming out of the pits there, back out onto the circuit, currently in 12th place at the moment, a long way down the order. And Davidoff still has the lead at the moment, ahead of Matty Pitt in 2nd place. Freddie currently running in 4th place on the fringes of the podium. He's been putting the pressure on Justify for a little while, but I wonder if he's just a little bit reluctant to put to absolutely throw the kitchen sink here at Justify, knowing that Justify is in the championship battle. Maybe Freddie just doesn't want to commit to anything unless the chance is absolutely clear cut, which is absolutely fair enough if that is what he's doing. But he's been on him now for a few laps and doesn't really seem like he wants to go for the knockout blow just at this point anyway. But obviously Justify 45 points behind in the championship, behind the championship of the clan. As things stand in this race, he'll gain a measly 7 points on him, which would close the gap down to 38 points. And I guess the gain is a gain, so it's not, it'd be a good night for him, because a 7-point gain is better than a nothing point gain, and 45 down to 38 wouldn't be bad at all. But he needs to be. I think the bigger picture here is that Davidoff leading the race would mean that he would lose 10 points to Davidoff. It kind of, on paper it looks good, but it's not as good as what it could be. But Freddie seems to be backing off a little bit here. Maybe Justify now looking a bit more comfortable in that podium place, and it could be a better situation there for him. Saying that, he has got a penalty that will come into effect at the end of the race. That will change things. I think Freddie can stay within 3 seconds, then Justify will be looking at 4th place here in this one. Let's have a look and see what the situation is in terms of the overall penalties. So obviously Justify's got 3 seconds, Jargo's got 3 seconds as well, Clem with 6 seconds, but Mr. Johan has got 3 himself, so that 5-second delta between those two is not going to work out to Clem's detriment, so he'll be able to hold on for P6 in that one. Nonetheless, we see the race leader Davidoff coming into the bus stop once again here with almost a 17-second lead at the moment over Matty Pitt. Just coming over the line here to start lap 20 of the race. And Freddie's now got himself a penalty as well. So that's going to play against him. And Justify now has actually got a net P3 here. Just needs to keep it together here for these last 3 laps. And he'll be able to bring it home in 3rd place and gain some substantial points on the Championship Leader Glen here. So suddenly it's looking a bit better here for Justify. That's 3 extra points that he will desperately need come the end of the season. So yeah, that could be a promising little lifeline there here for Justify. His gap now nearly 2 seconds to Freddie, so things are looking suddenly ever so slightly better here for him. Closing stages here at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix here, the Purple Sector Formula 1 League, Season 12 here, round 13. Round 14, should I say, of his 24 race season. Could this be the moment? Could this be the point where Davidoff's fortune started to turn around? As it stands here in this race, he'll be gaining 17 points on his championship rival Glenn, who came into this one with a massive lead in the championship of 37 points. He's going to pretty much halve it down to 20 points here. So it's going to be a really pivotal night for Davidoff, and I'm sure he came into this with a bit of a vengeance. He's certainly delivered upon it. With 2 laps left to go here, he's almost there. He's almost done it. And yeah, this could be the night. This could be the night where Davidoff reignited his championship challenge, because Glenn has had the better of the last few weeks. But now we could be seeing a change, a turn of the tide here for the Williams driver. It's gap to Matty Pitt almost 20 seconds. It's been a phenomenal display here from Davidoff, and Mr. Johans now got ahead of Glenn as well. Glenn had that penalty. I tell you what, Glenn is dropping down the order here. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but he is plummeting. Currently don't have the data for that request is the issue for ice, according to G.C. Well, here we go. Look, we've got Glenn here running in P7, only just ahead of Ben Hardy. It looks like he's going to finish in 8th place here, because he's going to lose that place on the penalties. He could even finish in 9th here, because Rexy Boy is within that 6 seconds. So it could be the case. Glenn could finish in 9th place. This would be huge for Davidoff and Justify. If Glenn finishes 9th, which is looking like he might not even score any points here. What is going on? He's really struggling. He must have got some big damage there. Trackside, let's see what's going on. What is going on with that car? He can't drive it straight. What is missing? What is going on? Glenn's car is coming to a stop. He can barely even drive it. It must be I don't know what's going on with that car. That is very strange. Well, the championship leader is out of the race, so he's going to score no points. That'll mean the championship gap is 12 points with Davidoff leading the race. He'll cut that gap down to 12 points. Justify running in 3rd place. That'll mean that Justify will gain 15 points on him. So Justify will only be 30 points behind. So championship suddenly thrown wide open again. Matty Pitt running in 2nd place at this moment in time as well. And he's not far behind at all. He's been quietly sneaking himself into this fight as well. So he'll score 18 points. He'll be only 40 points behind the championship leader. So everything is kind of just closing up here. After tonight, there'll be 40 points covering the top 4 drivers in the championship going into the final 10 races of the season. Obviously, well over halfway after tonight, it'll be the final. It's like the chase in NASCAR. And this will be it. This will be a heck of a final chase for this season. But nonetheless, Davidoff here coming around the final lap of the race. The gap over 20 seconds now to Matty Pitt. A sensational performance it's been from our Scotsman here tonight, driving in the Williams. And Drago in the meantime has moved ahead of Freddie on the final lap. But He's got that 6-second penalty. Freddie's only got 3, so the delta 3 seconds in Freddie's favour will allow him to take that position once all is said and done here. So they come down towards Brussels here on the final lap of the race, but Ben Hardy on the back of Mr. Johan, is he going to have a chance to make this move here on the final lap? Let's keep half an eye on that on the time board as we go back to the race leader, who is coming through the final few corners. Justify has made the move on Matty on the final lap, but it's the last lap and he's got a 3-second penalty, so I think he's made that move a bit too late here. I don't think that that's going to pay any dividends here for Justify because of that penalty, so Matty should be able to take second place regardless. But here comes the race leader through Blanchimont for the final time, and he's just got the bus stop chicane to go. He started on the right tyre, the hard tyre. Somehow he managed to stay close to the leaders, and during the towards the end of the first stint managed to overtake them all, led when the rain came, and from there he was in utter isolation. Davidoff over the line takes an emphatic victory tonight at Spa-Francorchamps. Nobody could get close, nobody could even keep him in sight. It's Davidoff there, totally in control here tonight. Justify coming into the bus stop. It's going to be second place on the track, but Matty will get it on the penalties, so they come up towards the line. Matty Pitt's going to be second place. We Justify third, Freddie fourth, with Drauger in P5. Then Mr. Johan's going to come home to lead Ben Hardy over the line, but Ben Hardy will be sixth, with Mr. Johan seventh. Followed by them, it will be Rexy Boy, who will come over in 8th place. You just see him coming around the final corner there. He finishes the race in P8 in the Ferrari. And then next over the line after Rexy Boy will be T, who we see just coming into the camera shot there. T comes over the line. Next over after him will be T Faulkner, as there he is. And then a bit of a gap back to Oliver, who's just going to be coming into our shot in a second. And there he is, Oliver there coming up towards the line to finish this race in 11th place. Ice Wolf lap down in P12 was the last driver to finish the race. But that is everybody for tonight for Purple Sector, and fantastic racing from everybody here tonight. I tried a bit of a different setup tonight. I thought when I got my headphones in, I feel a little bit boxed in, a little bit suppressed, and sometimes I don't really feel like I get the best out of myself on the comms. I often miss stuff because it kind of like just it messes with my head a bit. It makes me all sweaty, and I just tend not to pick up on stuff in the race as much. This was me commentating without any headphones on, just talking through the mic into a mic, essentially. And yeah, hopefully it was a bit better. But thanks everybody once again. Congratulations to Davidoff on taking a phenomenal win. Yeah, splendid stuff there from him. Matty Pitt there second ahead of Justify, who takes home the final spot on the podium. But that is that, guys. Make sure you join us next week. We'll be back as always with Purple Sector on Tuesday night for round 15 of the season. We'll be live from Zandvoort for that one, for the Dutch Grand Prix. Also, if you can't make Tuesday, then join us on Thursday for round 16. That'll be at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. And if you're interested in watching some sim racing on the Motive channel, then join us for Red Arrows, because Red Arrows will be live on Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time. And yeah, they'll be live at 8 p.m. UK time. It will be a 3-tyre strategy for that one, a 3-tyre race. Drivers have to use all 3 compounds, and it'll be at Portimao, Portugal. So join us for that. Anyway, cheers everybody. We'll see you all soon. Good night.